Good afternoon, you guys. It's 1 o'clock and I am ready to get started. I hope you are. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Ask James. A few people have a few things that they wanted to ask me, and I'm ready with some answers. Come on, you guys, let's get started. But before we do that, actually, I do want to give out two big thank yous to two of my ladies who have done super chats during the premiere of last week's show, and that is Brianna and also Miss Blue. Thank you, Queens. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's go ahead and let's get started. First letter, and it's crazy. It just says, pick me. Pick me. That's the title. So we're going to pick you. We're going to pick you. All right. It says, hi, James. I've been wanting to write in for a while, and I have many questions, but we'll start with this one. I've always been an introverted person since I was very young. I've seen the ugly side of people early in my life, and it taught me in order to be safe, you stay by yourself. This made me an extremely strong person, but also very weak when attempting to have relationships. I've had one best friend as an adult, and that ended in a brawl in my backyard. Okay. All right. Come on. Seriously? As an adult? A brawl? Really? Okay. But on my current issue, I became friendly with the girl I work with. She's a Pittsburgh native like you, so I assume she would be good people. I ain't never told you that about folks from Pittsburgh. I ain't never told you about that about folks from Pittsburgh. As a matter of fact, you've been watching me. I've told you about my family members, and I don't fool with them. Where you think they from? Pittsburgh. Anyway, let me go ahead. See, you about to start something. Anyway, let's go. Okay, so we kiki, talked about our lives and common interests as new friends do. At least I thought. This went on several months. I considered us better than acquaintances, if not friends, despite little red flags I was hearing and seeing. Like her making it her business to flirt with any guy I seemed interested in. Or the story about the time she was screwing her roommate's man behind her back and the excitement she felt because she never found out. That broad ain't got nothing in common with me. Not nothing. Alright. Lord, this is getting interesting. Okay. But of course, none of these things matter now because she is married and in the church. Yeah, sounds familiar. Yeah, baby, she from Pittsburgh. Yes, go on, honey. And yeah, we gonna get to it, honey. But anyway, she is a self-proclaimed MUA, and I was going to hire her for an event. We discussed everything about it, and I made sure to ask if any monies were needed up front on my part. She said no, and she would save the date. Couple days later, she sends me an invoice for $100 to secure her services. I was shocked and immediately felt disrespected, but her reply was just this. But her reply was just, this was how she does business. I was lost as to when the scenario changed and it was now strictly business proposition. Long story short, I went with somebody else and I ain't talked to the heifer since. She acts like the victim now and I just misread the whole thing. Did I? Am I wrong? Was I overly sensitive? Is this something you would work through? Okay. So, first things first. Now I'm laughing about the whole Pittsburgh thing. But, she just bad. She just got bad aura. Period. She just has bad aura, period. All that sneaking, slipping, sliding, and carrying on, that doesn't have anything to do with Pittsburgh. That just has to do with the fact that she was a nasty little tramp. You know, that's all that is. And I don't even know no nicer way to say it. She was a sneaky tramp and couldn't be trusted. It wouldn't matter where she lived. She could live on the moon. That behavior is out of order. And definitely, I'm not saying that you couldn't become friends with her, but, trust me, I definitely have friends from Pittsburgh and other places who do this, who have told these types of stories, and you know right away, don't take them around anybody or anything that you may like. Not a man, not a woman, not a pet, nothing. Because they're subject to screw it. So, that's just that. Has nothing to do with where she lives. But again, as far as Pittsburgh, I've lived in Pittsburgh all my life. And like I said, I talk to you all a lot of times about friendship and family members and friends that I've made. And I've made many, many bad decisions when it comes to friends. So don't come flying to Pittsburgh to find no best friends, because I ain't had no whole lot of luck with that. My best friend is actually from Philadelphia. So anyway, I say that to say this. This has nothing to do with the friendship though. I don't know if there was something that was missed or something she may have said that you didn't hear. But this for me, no, this is not a deal breaker. It's not a deal breaker. I think there's a misunderstanding, or maybe, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. It could have been on both parts. She could have actually really said, you know, hey, no, I'm not gonna charge you, but then thought about it and changed her mind, and that's actually not really on you. She should have actually said, you know, I changed my mind. I better keep this business. You know what I mean? Because it should have never been free anyway. Business is business. See, and this is why I always run into some of the issues I run into, is because people like to get up underneath me for business reasons and try to be friends with me, they've never been my friends. And it's always been a thing of down the road, they start to try to use me or want things, extra gifts and services from me, and when I'm not willing to give them, then we have this thing going on that y'all got going on. Then I'm the worst person in the world. So, but see, I have no problem with stating what my issues are, because I ain't trying to be your friend to give you no discount. But I don't think that this was a reason to break your friendship up. It is what it is. It's not that she was overcharging you. That wasn't your issue. The fact that she said that she would do it for free and then she said that she wasn't. I would tell her to explain herself. Put it all out on the table and say, well, you said you would actually do it for free. And that's what kind of threw me off. But, you ended up paying somebody else anyway. So I don't know. It just, I don't know. Yeah, you were being a little bit, you're being a little sensitive. You're being a little sensitive. Yeah, I can't love you dearly, but I can't get with it, because no. I sew, I do hair. Those are things I can do. I ain't doing them for free. Period. Anybody who sit in my chair and I get to pick up a curling iron, they're paying. Anybody who wants me to pick up some thread and some material and put it together, I don't care what my relationship is with you. You're paying. You're paying. That's how I eat. That's how I eat. No, it doesn't matter how you see it. That's how I eat. I'm not doing it for free. I'm not. So, I don't know. I can't side with that. So no, I don't think it was enough to break off the friendship about that. I think you in the back of your mind, you always had her on watch. So that was a smart thing. As far as her past behavior, you have her on watch. So that was smart. But no, I don't think you should have broke your friendship up about that. It was what it was, and you actually should have paid. You should be paying. It's a service. It's how she eats. Whether it is a part-time or an extra gig, it don't matter. It's how she eats. And she didn't owe you. She doesn't owe you. She doesn't. So, can't side with you with that one, sis. But, yeah, don't come to Pittsburgh trying to find no friends, honey. They ain't no different than nobody else. There are sluts everywhere. There are backstabbers everywhere. There are people who are shady everywhere. They're everywhere. in Pittsburgh. And people say, and I'm going to say this, it seems, for me, in my travels, the further south you go, the nicer people are. And the more people are, they have values that our people had back in the day. And I'm speaking from an African American standpoint at this time. So, yeah, it's, when you go southern, you get that old southern togetherness feeling. Child, that's just been my travels, my 47 years, honey. I ain't, nope. Because I'll tell you, when I walked into a store in New Orleans, and I actually saw a sign that was that New Orleans? Nope, I'm sorry, not New Orleans. I was in Nashville. I was in Nashville, Tennessee. And I saw a sign that said, about 12 items come on through this line. About 12 items. So you could actually have 12, 13 items, 14 items, and they will take you. I'm telling you, here in Pittsburgh, if that line says less than 12 items, you have 13 items, the cashier is going to give you the blues and will throw you out of the line. So that kind of southern hospitality, you ain't getting that here. Flat out. Love my city, love where I come from, but southern hospitality is in the South. Period. But anyway, so I'm on to something else. Let me get back down off my soapbox. Bam it. I'm back. And that is, like I said, that's the advice I actually have. Nah, you kind of standing in the wrong spot on this one, babe. It wasn't worth it. And unless there's something else that you're not telling me, which I kind of in the back of my mind, I think there's something else that has gone on with you all. There's probably been little things that was just the one thing. You was like, you know what, here you go again, not doing what you say you're going to do. But you didn't write that in a letter, so I just had to hold on to that. And with what you've written me, I can't stand with you on. So, sorry about that one, but that's all right. That's all right. I love you still. All right. I'll see you later, baby. All right. Let's move on to the next letter, you guys. Okay. This letter actually is titled Something's Fishy. Okay. And it goes like this. Just wanted to say I'm loving the new format for Ask James. Thank you very much. When I initially sent you this question, it didn't have a name. When you get around to this one, I'd like it to be named Something's Fishy. Going forward, I will make sure the name of my questions are all in there. That's no problem. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So, it's my lunchtime at work, and someone heated up some fish in the break room microwave. Everybody got to talking about how bad it smelled. Some people left the floor. People were asking who it was that heated it up, and the manager got to spraying Lysol around the whole office. It caused quite the controversy. Laugh out loud. My thing is, people have the right to heat up their food and eat it at their desk. If someone doesn't like how it smells, that is their problem. No one else in the office seems to take my stance on this. Literally, I'm the only one, and there are about 40 people in this office. Wow, okay. Ain't no problem with that, child. I ain't never had a problem being an individual. But anyway, let's go. Literally, I am the only one. I personally think they're all being extra. I mean, did I like the way it smelled? No. But it wasn't that big of a deal. I don't feel that I'm entitled to like the way everything smells around me. Once again, I find myself in extreme minority in my thought process, but nothing new there. Please tell me your thoughts on this. Okay, actually, and it's so funny because I actually do have a story that goes along with this. All right, so years ago when I was working actually in a call center for a phone company, okay? Same type of situation happened, and it was a toss-up, but it got even deeper than this. It really did. And I'm going to say right away, I really feel like the people at your job were being extra. They were being extra, but people just tend to do that. People who are at work, they just miserable and don't want to be there anyway, and they be looking for any goddamn thing to get to fussing about. And that's what this actually seemed like, because the smell of fish, that's cooked fish, hasn't offended anyone that bad. People at work, people eat fish sandwiches and order shrimp fried rice, and they order Asian food and all of that, and you can smell the fish in it all the time. So they were really doing the most. And I don't think that you did or said anything that was really out of order here. Like I said, now let me go on and swing this on around. We get ready to do a little story time here, and everybody can thank you, because my people seem to love story times. So everybody can go ahead and thank you. I'm not going to give your name, but everybody can thank you for the fishy story that actually swung into a story time. Okay, so let's go, because I don't want to take up too much time. All right, so I'm working at the phone company, and it is Thanksgiving. Okay? That was the thing. When I worked at the phone company, child, I worked every Saturday and I worked every holiday. Okay? So, Thanksgiving Day. It's a good friend of mine. And me personally, I wouldn't have done this just because I don't want to be in that position. You know, I don't mind throwing down, y'all know that, but I would prefer not to have a confrontation if I can actually avoid it. Well, my friend gets her plate. She brings her plate to work and everything. We got our food, and she goes and she heats up her plate. And now her plate did give off some smells, and I know y'all probably already know where I'm going, honey. African American Thanksgiving. Yes, chitterlings, honey. She had chitlins on her plate. And you know chitlins have a distinct smell. And it gave off a smell. But it didn't light up a whole office. It didn't light up the whole office or anything like that. It didn't kill the microwave or anything like that. But, of course, there were, and it was so funny because there were folks who are Caucasian who were given very much, child, what is that? What is that smell? And I was like, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. And I'm like, I hated ever getting into these kinds of things because at my job, people were really a mess. And that's to lead me to a whole nother story time. But anyway, So we had some Caucasian folks that were asking just questions, and they were very tactful, actually, about what the smell was. And I was saying, oh God. So my friend, she's answering the question, and she's starting to get a little huffy, and I'm saying, why are you doing that? Like, why are you getting huffy? Because one, you already knew what it was about when you brought that up in here. And they're not being rude. They're not being rude. It's not their culture. They don't know. They possibly don't know. Everybody Caucasian doesn't know everything about us. We used to work with people that lived in like West Virginia and Ohio, and baby, some of them know about chitlins, but some of them don't know nothing about it. This is a teachable moment. But I just don't think, me personally, I skipped over that altogether. I wasn't bringing no chitlins to work. I just wasn't doing it. Because first of all, I don't want chitlins sitting out. Period. Because you're not supposed to have them sitting out like that anyway. But, that's a whole nother situation. But I just felt like if you were going to be so touchy about it, you should have never actually brought that in. Things like that are going to actually bring up a conversation. And there's things in other cultures that are the same way. Like kimchi. If you've ever smelled kimchi, kimchi is some of the stinkingest mess that I have ever smelled the aroma for. Kimchi smells really bad, but everybody who I know who likes kimchi, they literally it's just like chitlins. When you have people who like chitlins, they really, really like it. And the same thing with kimchi. I've not seen anybody that said they kind of like kimchi. I've never seen a person say they kind of like chitlins. It's like a thing that they really love. But kimchi is, it's really rough. And I wouldn't taste kimchi before I actually had, because I have a fish allergy, so I can't eat any fish. And there's several different types of fish in kimchi and other stuff. I wouldn't taste kimchi back then because it just smells, it has a really pungent smell to it. But that went on. But like I was saying, I'm going to wrap this up. The whole thing with the chitlins down to the job. Do you know that there were more African Americans that were making a big fuss by the end of the day? Because it started spreading and it caused this whole conversation. And people were asking, well, why would she even bring that in there? And I felt like that. I did feel like that. But I didn't feel like, why was she bringing it in? Because it was embarrassing. Because I'm not embarrassed about anything about being black, honey. I'm all about this melanin I got going on. So I wasn't embarrassed. There were people who were literally, they were like embarrassed. And it just got to be ugly. Because they were giving very much of, well, why would you bring that around these white folks? Why would you not? If that's what you wanted to do, but my issue was, if you're going to be confrontational about it, it's like, if you bring chitlins to work, somebody gonna ask you a question. So ain't no need to be running around all up in a huff and in your feelings if somebody asks you, as long as they're not rude. So that was my thing. My whole issue, I got irritated with my girlfriend because she was being huffy and acting like she didn't understand, why people were asking her the question. But then I got irritated with some of the other African Americans for actually feeling as though it was like something that we should be embarrassed about. Excuse me, that's part of our culture. Again, it was a lot. There was a lot of moving parts to that little situation. But this little thing with the fish over at your place, they were just being extra. They're just being extra in general. And I'm gonna say this last thing, and then I'm gonna move on. Why I say about the job that I actually had and how touchy conversations could be at this place. We literally sat one day and watched in this lunchroom. We literally watched a guy. He was in training. Our training for this job was literally it took like a 4.5 month. It was like a 4.5 months training before you ever actually get online. We were in training, well into training. He was about maybe 3 months into his training. I wasn't in training with him, but he was about 3 months into his training. He made a joke a joke. Because there was a period of time where people used to steal lunches. Can you believe this? And we made darn good money. And there was people used to steal lunches. People are a mess. It's a mess. It's just a mess. But they would steal lunches. He made a joke. And he was like, this was shortly after the Columbine situation had actually taken place. I will never forget this. And he said, this told me the extremity of HR, okay? He just making a joke. He's into a table. It's like a table of us all sitting around. And he said, I ain't playing. He said, I ain't for all that lunch stealing stuff. We come down here and work all these hours. Said then overtime and stuff, if you're going to do that. He said, and somebody steal my lunch. He said, ain't nobody playing. He said, I'll be ready to hurt somebody. He's like, I can't stand nobody to steal from me. And we're like, okay. And then he said, shoot, you know, have you ready to go put on a doggone trench coat and come up in here. And we thought no more about it. Within an hour, there was buzzing. Do you know that somebody at another table had overheard him being nosy because he wasn't talking loud? Being nosy, overheard what he said, went to HR, and within an hour, he was fired. Fired. So, yeah, on that job, do you really think that I'm getting ready to bring anything in here that's going to cause a controversial conversation? So, no. You know, because the whole thing, if somebody had gotten a whiff of those conversations that were going on about that little chitlin situation and went to HR, somebody would get fired. So, no, I didn't play with them people like that. I thought all of them were ridiculous. And it sounds like you kind of might work in the same type of space. But they were just being extra about the fish. Completely extra. A mess. A hot mess. And don't no fish smell that bad unless it's rotten or spoiled. They're just being ridiculous. Anyway, enough time on this. Thank you so much for writing in. I appreciate you. And I know who you are. And yes, you do watch me a lot. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for writing in. All right, let's move on, you guys. This one says, Am I Wrong? Is the title. Am I Wrong? Hey James, I'm a big fan and have been since I came upon your channel. I love the advice you give to others and would really appreciate some myself. Come on, let's go, baby. I recently had a baby boy, and of course people want to see him. But because it's winter, and this is an older letter, you all know I have letters, you know I'm catching up. Because it's winter and he is so small, I keep him sheltered. My mother-in-law, however, was very pushy and seeing her grandson. So we brought him to visit. Right off the bat, I regretted it. Soon as we got in the door, she was kissing my baby. I told her not to, and she did it again several times. Not only that, but his sister constantly coughs without covering her mouth. No one over 3 years old should be doing that. I also had to tell her to cover her mouth, and she kept coughing. A week after the encounter, my baby fell ill. He had developed bronchitis and spent the first 8 days of the year in the ICU. He was on oxygen machines, had a feeding tube, and everything. I told the sister that it could be from her disgusting cough, and that H&M monkey told me. No. Now you know you out of order. Oh my God. And I didn't proofread this letter. I didn't proofread because most of the time I don't do that. I just pull them. I pull them. You did not. You did not call her the H&M monkey. Shame on you. Oh, I love you all. Oh my goodness. Okay. And that H&M monkey told me that she didn't have bronchitis, so it wasn't from her. I explained that bronchitis is not transferable. But having a cold and not covering your mouth when you cough could lead to that, especially in a baby. She never expressed any sympathy or even apologized in any way. I expressed my concern to his father, but he got defensive and took the side of his sister as if I had no reason to believe she could have gotten the baby sick. Since then, I haven't spoken to the family, in particular his sister. I have no interest in doing so because I'm not sure about how I really feel about the issue. I'm not the type to hold my tongue, but in this case, I kept my distance because God knows what's going to come out of my mouth. It has caused a strain on my relationship as well. I refuse to let my son go back there. Am I wrong? Should I not be upset about what happened? Is it crazy of me to say that I could have lost my baby because of this, and she didn't even bat an eye? Please help. P.S. I know I'm not crazy. That bitch is nasty and I don't want him around her, but it's always better to hear another perspective. Now you done called her a bitch. Lord knows you belong to me. You definitely treasure her. You say it like you mean it. Whoop whoop! Shout it out, Eddie. Shout out to Wendy Williams. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of this. Okay, a lot of parts to this. And I think it goes deeper than this one incident. Okay. I'm gonna have to go break down because there's a lot of parts. I'm not surprised that your mate sided with his mama and his sister. I'm not surprised about that. Just from this interaction, I'm not surprised that she wasn't apologetic. And I'm not surprised that the stance is what it is. And the behavior, where I'm pulling it from, your mother-in-law's behavior tells it all. It tells the story. Period. Don't kiss my baby. I don't like people kissing the baby. And then she continued doing it like the baby wasn't yours, like it was hers. Very much, I don't care what goes on. You have to respect people's wishes when it comes to their children and their homes and things that belong to them. And I know where you're at and I know where you're coming from because I didn't play it. I don't play no kissing of the babies, okay? You all know that I adopted too. And I actually, I got right into that with my youngest child with his mother. I said, girl, are you kidding? And I didn't even get the chance to really have to really get her. I'm gonna tell you who ended up really getting her. My mother. Okay, so I got you, and I'm real bad about that. I don't like people in my baby's faces. I don't want them kissing them. My children were never permitted to drink after people, not even after each other. I don't, no. But that's how I was raised. You don't eat after people and you don't drink after people. You don't do stuff like that. It's just nasty. It is nasty. But yeah, and I'll go back to that in a minute. I'll just hold on. See, we just get ready to roll into another story time. Y'all get ready to get a Miss Patty story, honey. But anyway, I don't think that you're wrong. Hopefully, it's like water under the bridge, though. Because the baby could have actually contacted the virus. Whatever the virus was that took the baby down that road could have definitely, you were completely right. It could have definitely come from her. You know what I mean? It could have definitely come from her. If she actually has some type of a cold or a virus and you're coughing that, it could have definitely come from her. You learned a valuable lesson here. You learned a lesson about following your first man. Your first man told you not to take your behind over there. And you shouldn't have. And you shouldn't have. So, you learned a valuable lesson. And I would actually chalk it up to that. I'm not losing my husband over this. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. I wouldn't lose my husband over this. It just is what it is. You know where you stand. They know where you stand. Squash this mess. Squash this. Squash this. Because it ain't worth losing over. It really ain't. That baby's going to grow up. And you know what would possibly happen to you? Because at this point, you don't want your baby around them or anything like that, and then you don't want to go around them. Well, one thing is that you can't literally stop your baby from being around. Well, you can physically for now, but it ain't right to stop your baby from being around the other family members. But you know they ain't right. So you need to squash this. And even if you have to suck it up and eat it, you need, whenever the baby is around, you need to be with them. So you got to squash this so you be able to be in the presence of, so you can actually do the right thing, because it wouldn't be right to pull his family away from him. They're his family. And this is what I'm going to say about karma. You take and do that. When you make decisions for other people, even when they're your babies, you may regret it. You may regret it. He'll grow up and he'll have this strange relationship with his father's people, and it will literally be your fault. And it could literally work its way back. Because see, karma's a nasty something, honey. She could work it around to where karma, when I say she, I'm talking about karma. She could work it around to where that grandmother and that aunt may turn out to be that baby's favorite people in the world. And wouldn't that mess you up? Do you get where I'm going? Do you get where I'm going? Don't let this be. Don't squash this mess. If you ain't ready to get rid of your husband, because eventually that will tear up your whole marriage. That will tear up your whole marriage. You gonna battle with the mama and the sister-in-law? Yeah, that could ruin your whole marriage. Squash that mess and deal. I ain't saying let them run you over. Don't ever let them run you over. You still make all the decisions, and you move when your baby moves. And you go ahead, and when you get over there, if they're not following your wishes, you pack up your baby and you roll. You don't argue, you don't fuss, you don't fight. You all know where I stand. I said it once. Oh, you doing it? Okay, cool, ain't no problem. You pack your baby up and you roll. Period. Now, if they continue on, because eventually they'll get it. Like, we can't win with her. If she brought the baby, we doing something she don't like, we can't just dismiss her. You know what I mean? Because she done packed up the baby and rolled. So you test their gangster. Test their gangster. And if they continue, then it will be worth it. See how full circle that came? If they continue to disrespect you in that way, after you said, listen, I don't like that, let's not do that, and they just gonna overrun you, and it goes on, and if your husband sits in that, then it would be worth it to get rid of him. You send him on back over there with them too. But you got to set some boundaries. I think this whole situation right here could just actually be a learning, like a little learning tool, and then go from there. If they don't want to move and they want to still act ignorant, because they were ignorant, if they want to still act ignorant in the future, then you'll have grounds to say, to hell with all of you all. But I don't think this right here is enough to throw everything away on just yet, because everything did kind of work out. Your baby's okay now. Baby's okay now, and it is what it is, and you gotta kind of let it go. You can't live in that. You got lots and lots of years, so don't live in that. But yeah, I would. That's how I would work it. I would throw it back out there, leave this alone, and then if they push me, then I would push back, And I wouldn't do no whole big falling out. I would push back. But if they did me again and don't want to pay attention, then I'll pack my baby up and I'll roll. And then you got something to stand on. And listen, that's when you get up in Pally Boy's neck, honey, and ask him, I know you're not sad. You sad with them? Okay, well, you take your ass on over there with them. But that one incident, I don't think that's enough to throw your whole marriage and possibly your relationship with your baby if karma come back the wrong way. And not over that. Not over that. That could be just a period of time where they're learning you, you're learning them, and everybody should be able to fix this right now. They should know now, because you done pulled the baby. You done pulled the baby. They know you mean business. They know you mean business. And if they try you again, then girl, you write me back, and then I'll go ahead and I'll tell you, girl, let they ass have it. But I wouldn't throw everything away right now. Not for that. Not right now. Now, what I was saying about the whole thing, here I go with my little story time thing again. My child's mother came to visit, and he was literally 2 days old. And she come in the door, and she went to lean over there to kiss him. And I'm like, oh, child. And before I could even get the words in, my mother said, I know good and well you ain't trying to kiss that baby. And she says, she looks at my mother and she said, well, it's my baby. And my mother's like, no, now we ain't gonna go there. We not go there about whose baby it is. Didn't you come in here to visit? You came in here to visit. You gave birth, not your baby though. You came in to visit, boo. And ain't nobody kissing no babies, especially not you, when you run around and you know you do all types of unsavory things with your mouth. I said, oh shit. And here, my mother, I said, oh gosh. My mom, honey, because literally she's sitting there and the baby's dead. And I just looked at the two of them and was like, you know what? Miss Patty got it, honey. Ain't no need for me to even say nothing, baby. There was, when I tell you, a hush fell across the room. And my cousin just looked at my mother, and she knew better than to even try to. Because she grown, and she's grown, and truly she's grown, and my mother's grown. And what my mother said was real tough. It was a tough piece, what she said. And my mother meant what she said. She meant it from her very core. But my cousin, she didn't get smart with my mother. She didn't say nothing to my mother. She didn't say nothing back. And I was glad she didn't, because I would have had to get her. It's like, because I don't play like that. Yeah, my mother said it. Yeah, it was out of order, and she just said it before I got the chance to say it. But I was just like, oh, it was so awkward. It was a very awkward moment. But I was like, okay, a day or two later, my ass was sitting around cracking up though. But yes, she did. Yeah, my mother, she's a piece. Anyway, enough of that. But boom, bam it, we're back yet again. Yeah, I've said what I've said. Use it as a teachable moment, Ma. You let them know what your standpoint is. You let them know not to play with you. That you are the mother and you are the one holding the purse. And you got your point across. And I just I wouldn't separate my family up. Not on this. Not right now. Unless it continued on. If something else happens and it continues, then by all means, let them have it. But yeah, I don't think I would throw the towel in just yet. And I do think that could cause a problem for you all. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you so much for writing in, and congratulations on the baby. I know this letter, I'm answering the letter late. But yeah, he should be a pretty nice sized little fella now. Congratulations to you guys. Alrighty. We will talk. Thank you for writing in, babe. Okay, you guys, this is our final letter for today. Alright, let's go. This one doesn't actually have a title. It doesn't have a title. And it goes like this. A married man still loves me. Okay, get into this drama. Well, now, there we go. I guess that is the title. It's just put in the wrong spot. A Married Man Still Loves Me is the title. Okay, get into this drama. It's a lot. I cry when I type all of this because this is the first time I get to really express it and let everything out. I've been holding it in since a teenager. The boys were not my focus until prom night. When I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school, this was 2009. Boy, I feel old. Okay. I went to prom with my older cousin who was a junior because she didn't have a date. I remember it like it was yesterday. I saw the most beautiful chocolate boy I've ever seen in my life that night. Good hair. He is Indian in his family, child. Out of order. Dark skin. Beautiful big brown eyes. He did have a prom date. Let's call him Spencer. His date was Linda. Now, I seen where they walked to class together during school, but at the time, I don't think I really cared. That next Monday after prom, I saw him at lunch. He had a friend of his come to me and ask for my number, so I gave it to him. Now, after I did confirm he had a girlfriend, but we were just texting, I'm 15. I'm not interested in having a boyfriend, but I guess at that point, from texting and phone calls and hanging out a few times during the summer, I actually had a little puppy love, mind you. Spencer was still with Linda. You could say it didn't have the right outlook on love at that age. No one to tell me like this is wrong and this is right. He graduated in 2010 and I graduated the next year. I was still the side piece, basically. This man was my first everything, you could say. We have grown together. 18 years old, I tried to move on from him and start dating. I ended up meeting who is now my current boyfriend, his best friend, Brent. Right? We hung out at Brent's dad's house with friends. Spencer walks in with some white girl. By then, him and Linda are still together. Me still having feelings for him, I snapped via text message. Well, that ended things at the time with Brent. I walked out of the door. Spencer told me get in his car. We left the white girl and the things started back up for us somehow. Okay. Messy. 2013, I had to find out via Facebook Spencer and Linda were expecting their first baby. I'm 20. But it wasn't a secret. They had relationship trouble. They broke up. He asked me something I had wanted for so long, to be his girlfriend. I said to him, if you can't stay faithful to me and only me, we can't be together. So we didn't get together. They had their first baby and then they moved in together. I moved on with my life, so I thought. 2014, I met my now ex-fiance. We broke up early 2016 because he was abusive and I found myself working 2 to 3 jobs paying the bills while he sat around all day running up my damn light bill. He got into a wreck. I took care of him. Once he healed, I ended that. Somehow ran into Spencer and we hit it off again. Spencer and I have been on and off since I was 15 years old. In 2016, after looking into myself, wondering what do I want out of life, I want to be married. I want to be able to experience pregnancy and childbirth. I'm ready for a family. November 2016, I tell Spencer all of this. Now, by then, he's a dad, had another baby with Linda. I told him what I wanted out of life. Did he want that with me or did he want to stick with Linda and his family? He basically ignores me, so I was done. I deleted him from my social media and deleted his number. April 2017, I go to Buffalo Wild Wings and I run into Brent. And he's looking like a big Snickers. 6'5", 300 pounds. Whew, Lord. And I just had to have a piece of that Snickers. Told him I was going to a local club afterwards, and me and this man have been inseparable ever since. Yes, Brent and Spencer are still best friends. He was even Spencer's best man in him and Linda's wedding. May 2017. Spencer writes me on Facebook asking about me and Brent. Brent and I plan to sit and talk with Spencer about this because it's going to be one day that Linda and I cross paths, and I'm sure at this point she knows something about me. So that plan failed, and I actually ended up venting on Spencer, explaining how I felt, how much time I wasted, the mistake it was meeting him, and how I regret it all because I know in my heart karma is going to get me. Spencer eventually tells me he wants me to be happy. He gets married August 2017 to Linda. Brent was his best man, and I made sure to stay far away. September 28th, 2017. Spencer likes a few posts on my public Instagram. So, petty me, I comment and ask why is he liking my posts when we don't follow each other. He direct messages me basically apologizing for dogging me and dragging me along for all those years. He wants me to be happy, and I deserve to be happy. I told him thank you and congratulated him on his wedding and wished him the best. I told him for his daughters to treat his wife with all the love and respect she deserves. I'm thinking it's done. He then asks for it not to be awkward for me and him if we were ever around each other, since Brent is his best friend, and I'll eventually end up being around more. No problem. Conversation gets to where he tells me he still loves me and he still has feelings for me, and he didn't marry Linda because he doesn't love her, but because they have children, and he asks about me from time to time to keep check on me. He has been non-stop sending me messages at this point. Do I tell Brent and possibly ruin their 20-year-long friendship? Do I tell his wife and possibly ruin a fresh new marriage? Or do I keep it to myself and continue to ignore him? I'm scared if I speak up, I'll lose Brent, because it's a possibility that he might end up putting his friend over me, and I don't want to be the one to ruin the marriage. I know it's a lot. Please help. You think? You think? Listen. You might be mad at me when we get done with this, because you've sat around and played side chick knowingly for a very long time. For a very long time. And now it's gotten old. And yes, I understand that it's actually gotten old, but you did it for so long. For so long. Like, we're talking 8 years. Like 8 years. You've been playing this little nasty little game. I mean, and it's like there's like children and 2 marriages and all of this kind of carrying on. You're not even in a position. You're not in a position to be giving anybody any type of ultimatums at all. And truly, how dare you threaten to go to his wife? Really? Really? Like, I mean, how do you position yourself to go and say anything to Linda? Period. I'm telling you from the door, you out of order for even thinking it. Because there's only truly one victim in this whole thing. There's only one victim, and that's Linda. That's Linda. She is the one true victim that didn't know nothing about what's going on. You're just kind of thinking that she might know, but she is the victim. She has been violated by you and him. So no, you don't get the right to go and knock her house of cards down. You don't get the right to do that. This is yours to eat. This is yours to eat. It really is. The two of you, And I ain't gonna beat you up no more than that. Because it's just too much. Just too many moving parts, and I was about to get lost. And I stayed on track. Long story short, you played side chick all these years. You victimized her, and he victimized her, and you two don't get the chance to get it up off of you and make nobody else miserable. You two need to take it to the grave. Y'all suffer through with it. Y'all suffer through with it because you two did it. Hope that ain't too harsh for you, but that's the reality of things. You don't get the chance to knock down anybody else's house of cards with that. Nope. And Brent's a bit of a victim as well. He's a bit of a victim. But that poor Linda, child. I feel sorry for Linda, baby. I don't know how she missed all that, but yeah. Nope. You two, y'all got to carry that. That burden is on you. Is on you too. Yeah, that burden's on you too. And I said, I'm leaving that alone, child, because that's a whole lot of nothing, honey. A married man still loves me. Sound like you love him too. You threw that off on. You kind of throw things off, boo. I think you love him as well. I do. It is what it is, and stuff happens. But y'all carried it on too long. All right, but I really appreciate you writing and asking what I actually thought. Yeah. Just too much time was going by. Alrighty. So, thank you for writing, baby. Anyway, you guys. Whew, okay. A lot of stuff today. This has been another episode of Ask James. Thank you so much for sharing and being here with me. And we done did story time and everything. We done done a whole lot today. If you have any letters that you would like to get out to me, you can definitely send a letter handwritten to my P.O. Box at James Colwell. That's P.O. Box 99432. That's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 15233 is the zip code. Or you can actually send me an email and title it, Hey James. So I will definitely see it at spillitboy@gmail.com. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I will catch you all next week, same time. All right, see ya.